It's been a week since 1899 came out, and if you're anything like me, the finale asked more questions than it answered. So I have compiled a list of 33 questions that I have following Season 1. Before we get into them, if you'd like to follow my friend Conrad through the show one episode at a time, we've already released the first episode breakdown. Follow the link in the pinned comment. In Dark, he predicted every big twist. Can he do it for 1899? Question 1. What is the third ship? In the first season, Ike mentioned that Henry Singleton had taken and upgraded 3 ships. Now, in the context of the simulation, that's the Prometheus, the Kerberos, and something. We never found out that third ship. Will it appear within the simulation? Or will it actually be outside of the simulation and it was just a hint to further seasons? I don't know, but I really want to. Question 2. Why was Ike's daughter's headband in the Prometheus? Now that we know that the Prometheus within the simulation didn't actually ever have passengers on it, this raises the question, why was Ike's daughter's headband there? He was able to show more of the headband, so therefore it wasn't just in his head. Did something happen to his daughter on the spaceship Prometheus, and this was manifesting itself within the simulation? I don't know. Mysterious stuff indeed. Next up is question 3. It's quite simple. Why does Maura live in Scotland? She's already been asked why does she have an Irish name when she's not Irish. And now she lives in Scotland, in Moorfield. Not one of the biggest mysteries in the show, but something I'd like an answer to. Question 4. Why is Henry outside of the Kerberos simulation, but still within the simulation? At the end of Season 1, we find out that a lot of passengers on the spaceship Prometheus are within a simulation. That simulation not only included the ship, the Kerberos, going from Europe to America, but it also seems to include Henry's observation room, and the big black pyramid as well. Why is he in the simulation in a different way than the rest? Is Kieran up to something? Question 5. Why set the simulation in the year 1899? If you're living in the future, why on earth would you want to set it back in 1899? My current theory is a theory of transition, moving forward to a new world. We see that in 2099, they seem to be on the way to a new world in a spaceship, so perhaps the simulation is trying to capture the same spirit that they're experiencing in 2099. It does make me wonder though, if the spaceship is also a simulation like many of us think, what's the transition or the journey to the new world that's happening in the actual reality of the show? Question 6. Are the characters' backstories real? Having learnt that this is all a simulation, are the backstories of the characters actually real? I mean, did they actually experience these things in the reality that they're from? Or are these just created to display an aspect of that character's trauma in some other way? Did Ike's family actually burn to death? Question 7. Were all of the passengers and the crew of the Kerberos real people? Many people on the subreddit 1899 are wondering, are any of these characters actually NPCs? I personally believe everyone on the Kerberos was real, because we did find out that the Prometheus had a lot of passengers. I'm going to assume that these passengers on the spaceship are all plugged in to the simulation. Could be wrong, but that's my current feeling. Question 8. What is the significance of the triangles? The triangles are everywhere in this show. We theorized about them for months before the show came out, and then we didn't really get an answer. We did see that Maura had the tattoo just behind her ear, like Elliot did when she was on the spaceship. This is the symbol for Earth. Is this perhaps just the symbol that they use to remind them of home while they're on the spaceship? Do they long to be back on Earth? Number 9. What the hell is the big black pyramid about? Number 10. What is the black matter which begins to grow everywhere? Number 11. Who sent the telegram saying sink ship? We are told it's the company. Having said that, now that we know it was a simulation, I don't believe this company exists. So why was it built into the simulation to tell them to sink the ship? Or perhaps it's Daniel. We know he was killing passengers at the start of the show, so therefore he was trying to cause some sort of chaos. Maybe he said sink the ship as well? Number 12. Is Daniel supposed to be in the simulation? Or did he enter it himself in order to save Maura? Daniel knows that Kieran has taken over the simulation. That implies to me that he was outside of the simulation at some point. How and why did he enter the simulation in order to save Maura? Was he a part of the simulation himself but woke up and then was able to see that it was a simulation and then get Maura out? Or did he plug himself in to go and get her? Question 13. Why did Daniel kill Ada? The simple answer is that he wanted to divide the ship. But if that's the case, that implies that the mutiny needed to happen to save Mora. Why was that? Question 14. How did the previous loops differ from the one we saw? Daniel says that the loop has gone on time and time again and Mora keeps getting reset, but this time, hopefully they can free her. I would really love to know how the original loops looked. What were their previous attempts to get her out? Will we get these flashbacks? Question 15. At what point in the loop does Mora get reset normally? Is it based on her being close to the revelation, or is it always just the 8 days that's mentioned in the series? This, I suppose, is similar to question 14. I want to know what happened in the previous loops, but specifically, I'd like to know the point in which Henry usually injects Mora to send her back to the beginning. I want to know what makes Henry say, alright, we gotta start this again. Question 16. Who sent everyone letters? Did Kieran send them all? We know that Mora's letter is signed, your brother, which implies that Kieran did send it to her. If this is true, did he send them all? And why would he need to send them all anyway? Does he want them all to come to some sort of conclusion together? Does he want them all to find out a truth? What is Kieran's game? Question 17. What happened to Elliot in real life? It's implied that Elliot was going to die, and that's why Mora put him into the simulation. But why was he going to die? Was it a long-term illness? I'm going to think outside the box here and give you a sneak peek of a big theory that I'm currently thinking about. Now, this is crazy. I think this show might be aiming at putting your consciousness onto a machine so that you can live forever. There was a lot of hints about immortality in the imagery of the show. And this is, I suppose, the only true immortality humans might ever get. Also, the idea of transitioning to a new world, like the Kerberos was, as well as the spaceship of Prometheus. The new world could be when we all live within a computer because we're all uploaded onto it. When Elliot was dying in real life, did Mora just throw caution to the wind and upload him into a simulation? Did she try and save her son by making him a computer? I don't know, that's a crazy big theory. Let me know what you think of that one actually. Question 18. What does Daniel mean by, this is so much bigger than you think? This implies to me that it involves more than just the people caught in this simulation. Maybe this is about the future of the human race. Question 19. Why does Daniel remember everything? All the characters in the simulation seem to have memory issues, except for potentially Henry and Daniel. Maybe Conor McGregor too. Kinda linked to a previous question about is Daniel meant to be in the simulation? But still, it is interesting that he remembers everything. Why can't Kieran control him? Question 20. Is the 2099 setting real? As much as it is something that we all expect, I still think it would be pretty cool to get a moment where someone's feeling carpet and says, "We're still dreaming, Mr. Cobb." Having said that, because we all expect 2099 to be a simulation, I think one of two things is going to happen. The first thing might happen is that it's not a simulation, because why would it be a simulation? Because we all think it is, and therefore these creators would make it not be. And the second idea is that really early on in season 2, they're like, yeah, of course it's a simulation, and then we immediately go to the next level of the simulation. Or maybe we re-enter the Kerberos simulation to get more people out. I do think our expectations will be challenged here. The fact that we all expect it to be a simulation at the end means that the writers probably have something planned to surprise us. Question 21. Who programmed the passengers to jump overboard? Pretty simple question. Was it Daniel? Was it Kieran? Was it actually just built into the program originally? Who knows? Question 22. Did the simulation restart for everyone else who was plugged into it? When Mora gets released from the simulation at the end of season 1, does it begin again for the rest of the passengers? I mean, they are still plugged in. Question 23. Where is the Prometheus spaceship traveling to? Is it traveling to a new world which can sustain life? Has all life on Earth ended and this is humanity's last hope? Or is it just like the Kerberos, never going to reach its destination because it's just a simulation? Question 24. Have we met Kieran under the name of someone else so far? Is someone pretending to be someone they're not? Question 25. What is the ultimate purpose of the simulated reality? I think we can understand that the original purpose of the simulation was so that Mora could live with her son for the rest of their life, to be stuck in that moment forever, so she would never have to say goodbye. But the purpose of this new version? I don't know. Keeps coming down to what I keep asking. What is Kieran up to? Question 26. Is Ike Larson truly the captain of the Prometheus spaceship? When Ike found the documents of the Prometheus ship, it said that Mora Franklin was a passenger. It also said that Ike Larson was the captain. Now that we can suspect that the Prometheus wasn't actually a ship within the simulation, and it's actually maybe just an analogy for what happened on the Prometheus spaceship, does that mean Ike was actually the captain of that ship before Kieran took it over? Question 27. Was there a genuine mutiny on the Prometheus spaceship? Maybe Kieran led a mutiny, and that is echoed within the Kerberos. Question 28. Perhaps the biggest twist of all could be, is this all in Moira's original plan? Having been told that Kieran has corrupted the simulation, the biggest twist of all would potentially be that he hasn't. Maybe Moira is not all she's made out to be. If 2099 is a simulation, as we all suspect, that means potentially Kieran thinks that he's in charge when he's not. Lots of fun to be had here. Question 29. What's the year in the true reality? If 2099 is indeed a simulation, it makes us think, when are we actually? A lot of people think we're in the 1960s through 80s at some point, based on the music that's in the show. If this is the case, that would be a massive, massive clue given to us in the first season, and something which was always going to lead to the correct answer being guessed. So I'm not quite sure that something that obvious would be there, although I could see it. Question 30. What did the numbers on the doors mean? They focused on these numbers so much. Is this going to be a code that they need to unlock or be released from a further level of the simulation? Are we going to get to a point where they have to keep going back into these levels of simulation to learn what they need to progress out of it? Definitely think they mean something. They focused on them way too much. Question 31. How long have they been asleep for on the spaceship? Is this all happening instantaneously, or has it been years that they've been asleep, traveling to a new world? Question 32. What is happening to Virginia? She touched the black shard stuff, which seems to have infected her. My personal prediction is this is going to infect her mind in some way when she gets released from the Kerberos. So when Virginia is on the Prometheus spaceship, released from that initial layer of simulation, her mind is going to have the remnants of that experience, and it's going to affect her in some way, I think. Question 33. What on earth is that little bug about? There's been a lot made on Reddit and in forums about computer science coming into this in some way. Apparently, a lot of the terminology used comes from the IT world. I'll be going through this in a video in the future. Perhaps this beetle is actually just a literal bug that they're using to exploit the system. Perhaps this is a problem with the code that they're able to use to open doors for them. I wonder if there'll be a version of this bug in the spaceship simulation. And will it still just be a beetle? Or will it be something else? Maybe an alien? Well, there you go everyone. 33 unanswered questions. Plenty more where they came from, I'm sure. I just thought 33 had a nice ring to it. I'm sure you know why. Next on the agenda, I have a load of theory videos in the works. I've also got a Dark versus 1899 video in the works. So let me know in the comments which one you would prefer. Of course, we've got our breakdown with Conrad episode 2 coming next week. Check out episode 1 if you haven't already. Thanks very much for watching everyone, and I'll catch you in the next one.